Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. More than 400 people have been detained in Russia for publicly mourning the death of Alexei Navalny, who reportedly died in an Arctic prison Friday at the age of 47. Navalny was Russia's most prominent critic of President Vladimir Putin. He was serving a 19-year sentence at the time of his death, which President Biden and a number of other Western leaders directly blamed on Putin. Navalny's mother, who traveled to the Arctic town of Kharp, was denied access to her son's body and was told by prison authorities Navalny died of sudden death syndrome. Carrie Amish, a spokesperson for Navalny, spoke on Saturday.
He was a symbol of hope and a symbol of courage for many Russian people. And now they feel like this idea of hope abandoned them. But that's not true. And I'm sure that people will find strength to continue their fight. Because this is what Alexei always wanted, and this is what he was telling everyone all the time, even from the prison.
Amnesty International Secretary General Agnieszka Yamard called for an international probe into Navalny's death.
Look, the international community need to react with the strongest way possible, but we know that actions have very little impact right now on Putin and on Russia. But still, silence is not an option. We must stand up, and the international political leaders around the world must make as strong a statement as possible. They must demand investigations. They must, in fact, investigate his unlawful death themselves. We must call on the United Nations to investigate that death, that unlawful death, that killing, in fact.
We'll speak to Russian-American journalist Masha Gessen. Her latest piece, The Death of Alexei Navalny, Putin's most formidable opponent. Israel's unrelenting assault on the Gaza Strip has killed over 29,000 Palestinians and injured another 69,000 since October 7th. A Nasser hospital in southern Gaza has been declared no longer functional by the World Health Organization amidst a days-long Israeli raid on the facility. The WHO says some 200 patients remain in the hospital, but that its aid workers were barred from accessing them. At least 8 people at the hospital have died since Israeli soldiers cut off electricity and oxygen supplies last week. On Sunday, dozens of people were killed and injured after Israeli forces started firing at crowds attempting to access life-sustaining aid from UN trucks in Gaza City. Israeli War Cabinet member Benny Gantz has warned that the Israeli military will launch its ground offensive in Rafah unless Hamas frees all hostages by March 10th, the start of the holy month of Ramadan. Some 1.5 million displaced Palestinians are now sheltering in Rafah. This is Rashid Abu Aida, who was forced to flee from Jabalia.
We are fleeing to safety, the safety of our children, our women, and ourselves. And today we have reached to the closest point to the border. I am around 50 meters away from the border with Egypt. After here, where can I go? 50 meters away from Egypt's border, and they said Rafah was the safest place. We came to Rafah, and now the Israelis want to enter Rafah. Where should we go?
The group Sinai for Human Rights has released video which appears to show the construction of a large area enclosed by concrete walls on the Egyptian side of the border with Gaza. The group says the construction is, quote, in preparation for the reception of Palestinian refugees in the case of mass exodus, unquote. At The Hague, the International Court of Justice has begun historic hearings on Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories. Palestinian Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki addressed the World Court earlier today.
Ending Israel's impunity is a moral, political, and legal imperative. Successive Israeli governments have given the Palestinian people only 3 options: displacement, subjugation, or death. These are the choices: ethnic cleansing, apartheid, or genocide. Mr. President, members of the court, the State of Palestine reaffirms its unwavering commitment to the rule of international law, which must finally prevail.
The World Court will hear arguments from at least 52 nations through next Monday. The hearings are in response to a 2022 request from the UN General Assembly. In related news, the International Court of Justice Friday rejected a request by South Africa to impose emergency measures against Israel's planned ground offensive in Rafah. The court said no new action was needed, as it demanded Israel comply with its January order to take all measures within its power to prevent genocide in Gaza. The court warned Israel's intensifying attacks, quote, would exponentially increase what is already a humanitarian nightmare with untold regional consequences, unquote. Solidarity protests with Gaza took place around the world again this weekend, including in London, where tens of thousands of people streamed through the city streets. In India, workers with the Water Transport Workers Federation have vowed not to load or unload weapons to Israel, saying they, quote, always stand against the war and killing of innocent people, unquote.